Greetings, capitalists. There is a very important conflict going on within our system. We know this works. We know capitalism works because it's created a wealth beyond anybody's imagination, at least in terms of volume and ingenuity and progress of ingenuity. We know this works. There's an essential conflict going on. See, right now I'm under attack from forces. How does capitalism deal with that? Obviously, like the Borg, it just absorbs them, turns them into not what they are, and then into themselves, into itself, ourself.
Hey.
Anyway, that's not really the problem. The conflict that it generates with what's outside capitalism. This doesn't concern us. What concerns us is what concerned the fascists when they arose and the communists in a more honest yet more cowardly way that I appreciate more. It's a conflict of what is it all for? We have all this power, and yet we don't know what it is a power of or a power for. We don't know quite what to do with it. One thing I do kind of recommend is at least recognizing that we have all this immense power. I don't know, some people are extremely just ready to...
So who has this power? Well, who are you talking about now?
All of the capitalist system. Well,
Right.
Even calling it a system is too enclosing, really. It's the capitalist humanity. It's us. It's we.
Right, no, then
I mean,
the power is too great. But if you take the thing that power sets goals, then this power is far too. There's no goal that can be set by this power. It's just powers. The goals need to be like people tried this with space travel, and the communists tried it with going outside of the Earth. Then the fucking Americans took this power and made it domesticated. And oh no, Apollo 13, these poor soldiers, these poor people, they die out. They made it very cozy again. If it even happened. But you know, communists, that's one of the things that they were doing right. It's about like just man, there is no limit. Man will conquer the universe. There's no God who can stop us and judge us. So that's maybe that would be also the Chinese, I suppose, have I think that the whole idea that the human life, the individual life, is so important prohibits setting grand goals that justify the power of 6 billion in this system, in this technological.
right, that's what the fascists and the communists both went for. Just an immense narrative to justify it all. And capitalism doesn't like being encapsulated like that. It's very, it likes its freedom.
And it's good because none of the goals so far were actually properly impressive enough. This is actually very much like Moscow near the bend. The Kremlin is there or there. It's very much like Moscow. This part. When me and my father were there, at this moment where we crossing the street and Putin in his parade, Putin in his black cars were driving by, and then you see that also the Russians don't have it. They lost it with the communism. The Chinese made it needs to come from us, from the Western capitalists.
And I'm not. Well, in the West there's still hope because we haven't even been arrogant enough to attempt to give it guidance. We sort of revere it. We revere the process of capitalism.
The thing that came close, strangely, wait, hold on. The thing that like gave me the sort of that like uncanny out there feeling, how it was strangely, I'm gonna be ridiculed for this, but the first Avengers movie, which was just ridiculously well made and impressive in terms of technology, what they did, and I had the feeling, okay, this is totally beyond me. This is a whole different level of power to create this stuff. So it might actually be that movies and stuff are of course, the Greeks created. Well, no, came out of Homer. They didn't create Homer above him.
Homer is maybe the point where the Greeks realized what it was that was going on, or something. It wasn't because Homer was Greek, but maybe not. Maybe you're right. Homer made Greece.
Well, yeah, that's a fact. Yeah. That's a fact. He was the cohesion of their narrative. He was their narrative. I mean, their whole social system, their morals were based on the Homeric gods, and their hero and their sort of the ancestries described there. And it's there. First, there was just this tribe of hero, Hyoid and stuff, and they needed to be made into a symbol, into a symbolic order for this whole culture to erupt around them. If you see the difference between the city of Atras, like Mycenae, and Triholid,
yes,
and Athens. I mean, that was just it was just a high wall with some edifices on it and a vault for Atras' treasure. Very basic sort of festing, stronghold. And then Athens with its majestic acropolis and pillars. And the translation from the standard thing to this divine thing was the narrative of poetry and beauty. So maybe this is what this would be in accordance with Savellios' world politics, historical politics, the cycle that he has of the Homeric age, the Platonic age, the Machiavellian age, and then the Nietzschean age, which is now, which he considers then again a pre-Homeric age. He considered it an age of new barbarism, and a time where evidently the new Homer is being built, in a sense, of prepared. So then we would be, in this scheme, we would be sort of preparing that kind of epic to make that possible again.
That makes sense. In a way, Nietzsche would be Homer, because he
said Nietzsche would be one. He likes these systems, and somehow I dislike systems, but his systems usually work quite well. So
very much like the before Homer and after Homer, what you were just describing. I mean, Nietzsche didn't create anything out of nothing. He's very astute in noticing. In a sense, Homer simply noticed Greece and then allowed it to be born. He discerned what was worth following, what wasn't. He gave direction. Systems, yes.
Yeah, but remember that, just stay within this narrative, Savellios, to keep it clear that so Nietzsche would be the pre-Homeric age. Like,
I understand that.
So
yeah,
I wanted to.
I quite purposely just
went over that.
Yeah.
But Nietzsche didn't create a narrative.
Well, he did.
No.
It's just hard to find, really, but it's there.
But that's the thing. That's why he created a philosophy and an ethics, which is out of which a narrative can come. We could be basically, like Homer created a whole enormous scope, including all men and all gods and all seas and all the world. And Nietzsche created an atom out of which such a thing might be born. That's how I would see it.
Well, the reason
I would never attribute too much to something.
I know. I understand this. The reason I said that, the reason I bring Nietzsche into it in this way is that Homer, in a sense, more than describing, like, yes, he gives birth to the oceans and just everything Greek. But first, he delimits what a hero is, what a hero does. This is what's most important about the Iliad.
But that's not even in Nietzshe yet, is it?
Of course it is. Of course it is. I hesitate to say it because it's so deep and profound.
But can you would you formulate that?
Yeah. Well, it's quite simple, really. That's why it's scary to say profundity. But already simply describing the chameleon, the camel, the lion, and the child, this is already the hero. This is what the hero is.
I disagree. I mean, it's okay. I think it's like the lion would be the hero in a sense. He describes,
but a hero is never a single thing. A hero has his heroic moment, which is the lion. I agree. Like the Homeric moment is the lion, where Achilles is the lion, and all of these people are the lion. But they have a trajectory of before and after. They even each have their tales of returning home. Ulysses, Aeneas, that other guy. Like they all had a tale of return.
Right, exactly, but Nietzsche does not provide any of that.
Of course he does. He provides a progression that the hero is. First he's the chameleon, then he is the camel, then he is the lion, and finally my brothers.
Well, no,
it starts with the chameleon.
With
yeah, the chameleon, never shifting, never really one thing, and never really a soul. Yeah, it's important one easily forgets because the camel is so good just in itself almost. And also the fact that the camel roams so far. When you're that deep into the desert, you forget the past and the future. It's just desert. And then maybe you dream about the lion, the oasis, but the past is no longer relevant. But the chameleon was there first. But as I said, to me, it's like, how do we even now connect this to capitalism? It's very profound, Nietzsche, what he did.
That's basically my thing. I thought it was, he's the beginning, sort of the depth of the depth. That's how I sort of further see this. I see the Homeric stories as a story about heroes that already exist, about
that's true.
Or under many gods, and of heroes that are already like aristocracies. And yeah, that's the basic. Like Homer describes sort of the height of aristocracy, and we still need to get even to the first steps of aristocracy, or we consider ourselves that.
Homer was not a writer of the future; he was a writer of his time. He created his time.
Yeah, he was a writer of history, of what just happened, of like not too distant history. And Nietzsche was a writer of the future. Yeah, exactly. So in order for there to be a Homer, first needs to be a Nietzsche.
Yeah, well, maybe it just terrifies me to think of a Homer. That is quite beautiful.
That is the whole point, I think, of why Aurelius is so important, is that his things are really very terrifying to think through, because he doesn't give a shit about anyone's survival or for all he cares, the whole human race is destroyed in a noble attempt. He really means that. I'm very apprehensive to this, but that's what makes him a good sort of historical philosopher.
Chronicler.
Yeah.
Well, no, more than that, a philosopher.
Well, yeah, but one with like a philosopher of history, so of politics. I mean, of unfolding history. It takes a position of a sort of the force of time itself. Okay, this was our planned destination. So, yeah, well, that's a good conclusion, that it is too terrifying, really, to accept.
But it somehow must be done.
I think, yeah, if we, it might be just the thing towards which our arrows are pointed, for better or worse.